Hello and welcome back to another podcast with me, Foxy No-Tail, here in Podcast Land. And it is after Christmas. Can you believe it? Christmas 2018 has been and gone. We're now heading towards 2019 really quickly, and it feels like 2018 barely even happened. And what an amazing year it was. It was a really good year for me. It was a good year for me at home, at work, and on YouTube. So it was a good year all round. I'm very happy with how 2018 went. Yeah, looking forward to 2019. That should be pretty good. So, coming up on today's podcast, we're going to be obviously talking about my week, which has actually been a couple of weeks since the last podcast. We've got news, we've got a Q&A, and today we're going to discuss Mojang, but from the opposite way round. So last week, after I finished the podcast, I sat down and listened to it back, and I felt that I'd done them more of a disservice than I really ought to have done, because they have done a pretty good job. To be fair, they work hard and they are producing stuff that I love and that I play every day. So I don't want to hate on them anymore. I'm going to turn over a new leaf and I'm going to look at things from the other side of things. But that's coming up. That's coming up. We're not talking about that yet. You're going to have to wait until we get to that point, okay? Right, so first of all then, I guess, let's talk about my week. So since my last podcast, a couple of weeks have gone by, and in that time we've had Christmas. Christmas has been and gone. It is now the 28th of December as I record this. Christmas was awesome. Had a really good time. I had both of my boys with me on Christmas Day, which was amazing. So we got to do the whole proper family thing. We had family round in the evening. We had a party. It was really good fun. We all had a great time. So that was amazing. Christmas was good. To go back to my treasure hunt thing that we've been talking about, where the pirate had been leaving his treasure, it turned out it was Santa all along and not a pirate that had been leaving his treasure. And we finally found the treasure on Christmas Day. It magically appeared at home, and the kids got a couple of early Christmas presents, which was really cool, which was really nice. So yeah, really happy about that. That worked out really well. That's outside of Minecraft. Not really a great deal else has happened outside of Minecraft, I suppose. Obviously spent quite a bit of time with the family over Christmas, working hard, doing Christmas shopping, wrapping presents, that sort of thing. Nothing particularly exciting, sadly. Inside of Minecraft, however, things have been going on. Things have been going on. In Bedrock Edition, I made some bamboo farms. I made a really big one, which was way over the top and too powerful, basically. Used a lot of resources. And I made a micro one, which I was really happy with, until one of my patrons came along and showed me a better one. And they showed me one, and it looked bigger and it looked more clunky. And I thought, no, there's no way that's going to be better than the one I've done. Mine's really sort of small and succinct and just does exactly what it needs to do. And I ran them both side by side on both Bedrock Edition and Java Edition, and their one hands down. It was faster. It worked across both platforms without needing altering. Yeah, it was just better. So I've now built their version, which is very similar to my version, but it's better. So yeah, built their version in my actual Bedrock realm now, and I've decorated that chunk, and that's all done, and that video will be coming out this Tuesday. On Java Edition, we built a Christmas island and put Father Christmas on there and some elves, and people came along and did some buildings. We've got a house on there with that plays Jingle Bells underneath with note blocks, which is amazing. We've got like a tropical dock on there from people that celebrate Christmas that aren't in the tropics, I guess. Or no, that don't have it all sort of cold and snowy, that do live in the tropics, I guess. And then a massive Christmas tree and a Santa and some reindeer and his sleigh. And it was really cool. And we all got presents, and I gave everybody a present as well. And my mob spawner by Ilmango, I finally got it finished, and it is insane. It is absolutely ridiculous how fast it is. It literally spits out mobs quicker than you could deal with them, basically. It's really fast. I did one overnight AFK session, and I filled up, and then they were overflowing 10 double chests worth of stuff, which is amazing. So that's really good. I'll probably never need to run it again. I've got more stuff than I'm ever going to use. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. Outside of those two things, but still in the realm of Bedrock, or no, still in the realm of Minecraft, should I say, I've started live streaming. Whoop whoop. Yay. I got myself a stream deck, or at least I should say Father Christmas brought me a stream deck for Christmas. If you don't know what a stream deck is, it's made by Elgato, and it's a little box that sits on your desktop near your computer with lots of little flashy lights and buttons on it, and it helps you run your stream. You can change things, you can press sound effect buttons. It's completely customizable, and it's a fantastic little device, and I love it. And I'm not promoting them, by the way. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. I'm just saying I really like it, and that's prompted me to start streaming again. And I say start streaming again. I think I've done 2 or 3 ever before then. And I did one a couple of days ago and it went down really well. I had a great time and I'm hopefully going to do another one tonight. So that's really good. So that's my week. What's coming up? I've already done what's coming up. My show notes are all over the place today. You can tell it's a while since I recorded the last podcast. So I guess we ought to skip that then and go straight into the news. So the first order of news then, as I've already touched on, I'm starting streaming again. That's going to be something that's happening regularly on my channel over the next few months. Hopefully I will keep it up. Hopefully I'll keep doing it because it's a really nice, succinct way to get content out without having to worry about the stress of recording a video. And I know if you look back through my podcasts not that long ago, I said completely the opposite. I said I wasn't going to start streaming and I had no plans to start streaming and I didn't like streaming and it wasn't going to happen. And my thoughts are valid on that because I don't watch other people's streams because there's too much stuff going on. They take too long. I'm never around when they actually start streaming, and I feel when they do start streaming, I don't have like an hour or an hour and a half to put to one side to watch them. So I try and watch them back, and it's never the same watching them back. So yeah, I never really enjoyed watching streams, and I thought, well, I can't really do streaming or be a streamer if I don't enjoy it myself, because that's just hypocritical. But enough people asked me to do it. I put a vote out on my Discord and it got voted for me to do it. So I thought I'd give it a go. And I'm trying really hard to do it in a way that will work when people watch it back as well. So obviously you get the stream and then it'll get saved to your YouTube channel as a video that people can watch anytime. So I don't want them to be too long. I'll probably stick to them to be around about an hour long. The chat is not going to be all binging and bonging and pinging and ponging in people's faces. Obviously, when people donate or anything like that, it will come up on screen. But yeah, that's not going to happen ever so often. But the chat itself, if I refer to the chat, I will mention it in the video. So I'll say something like, so-and-so says this in the chat, and then response to it. So that way, when you're watching it back, you're not confused when the person that's doing the stream just starts talking to someone. You've got no reference point. Because that's the other thing I find really difficult watching streams, is that the streamer will just sort of suddenly say something completely random, and you've just got to assume that they're responding to something in the chat. So yeah, I'm going to try and make it so it's easy to watch from both perspectives. That's the plan anyway. So yeah, that's live streaming. The next piece of news is the really big news, and I'm going to touch on this a little bit more in the Q&A, but I'm going to be putting together, me and some other YouTubers are going to be putting together a Bedrock Edition only server that is going to be just for content creators, whether that's YouTubers or streamers. Now, they don't have to be particularly well subbed to or have massive following, but they will need to be people that put out regular content and have a passion for the project so that it has longevity and it lasts a long time. At the moment, we've got a working name of Team Bedrock. That's what we're going to call it. That's subject to change, and we're probably going to be running on a server rather than a realm, which may, it might not make it easy for people on Xbox to join. I believe there are some issues with Xboxes joining custom servers. But overall, if we've got a server with 20 odd people on it, it's going to be difficult to run as a realm because it will be laggy, and also because people won't be able to join all at the same time. So we're going to try and go down the server route and see how that goes. But I'll talk more about that in the Q&A. So other pieces of news: Minecraft 1.8 officially came out for the Bedrock edition of Minecraft, and with it, it brought lots of new features, which we talked about in the last podcast, and it also brought a bug where you will fall to your death when you log in the game. Now, it doesn't always happen, but sometimes it happens. It has happened to me. Fortunately, I was wearing my Elytra and was able to fly. I fell to my death at spawn. I don't know what causes it. I don't know if it's from standing on a half block or a half slab or standing too close to something or what, but it does happen. And if you're not wearing Elytra, or if you don't activate them quick enough, you will die, which isn't great. Now, I reached out to Mojang on this, asked them if there was going to be a hotfix for it because it's a pretty nasty bug, and they've said, unfortunately not. It will be fixed in the next update of Minecraft, which will be 1.9, but there's not going to be a hotfix for it. And that's not because they don't want to. That's not because they can't be bothered. They've stated that because of the way the code has been written for 1.8 and the work they've already done on 1.9, there's no way they can put that hotfix in the meantime, which is a big shame, but we can put up with that. It's not the world's worst problem. You just have to be really careful logging in. Make sure you're wearing some Elytra or put all of your stuff in a chest before you log out, and then that way you're not going to lose it when you log back in again. The final piece of news isn't really news as such, but it's about my polls on Discord. I don't know if you're aware, but I have a Discord, which is basically like a big group chat thing where all of my followers can come along. And on there, I started putting some polls up that people could vote on. And the 3 polls that I'm going to talk about, I've got the results in, basically. The first one was, should I reset my Bedrock Edition survival realm when the 1.9 update comes out? And it overwhelmingly was voted yes. So that's going to be all fresh and shiny and new for the 1.9 update, which means people will start being active on it again and it'll be engaging again. It'll be interesting. So that's that coming up. Live streaming, obviously, that was one. I asked people, should I start live streaming or not? And again, overwhelmingly, the answer was yes, I should. So that's why I'm doing that. And I also asked which of my series people like the most. So I've got Bedrock Edition, I've got my Java Edition, and I've got my podcasts at the moment. There are going to be some more coming up in the new year, as we've discussed, but those are the ones that are there at the moment. And hands down, my Bedrock Edition Survival Realm won. That got 33 votes. Now, my Java Survival only got 12, so less than half the people voted for my Java Survival, which is something I'm going to talk about in a moment, because there's a bit of a problem there, and the podcast only got 10. But I can understand that, because the podcast isn't going to be suitable for my main audience, or at least for a lot of my audience. A lot of my audience are younger. They're not going to listen to me waffling on for an hour, and they're probably not interested. And also, I don't push it or promote it like I do my other series as well. So it's probably less popular because of that. It's not going to stop me recording them, because I like having this so I can waffle on and tell everybody my thoughts and opinions. And I like the response I get from it as well. But yeah, the Java survival result was very disappointing, and I'm not surprised because it shows in my video analytics. I do check my video analytics. My Bedrock Edition videos get somewhere between 500 views and 1,000 views per video, and my Java survival struggles to hit 200. I struggle to get like 200-300 views on there, which doesn't sound like a massive difference, but it is. It's a big difference, and that's because people come to my channel to see my Bedrock Edition stuff, because there are a lot more people playing Bedrock Edition. People see me as a source to see Bedrock Edition stuff. There's so many other people out there doing Java Edition. I'm just another fish in that very big pond as far as Java is concerned. And yeah, I think that's a shame. And that is a shame, because I really like my Java server. Now, it's not going to stop me playing on my Java server. Certainly not. I do enjoy that. And my patrons, we have a great time on that. At the minute, there's a big thing going on with the Mad Fisher, which we're having a lot of fun with. And it's great fun playing on there. But I do think it's probably going to take more of a sideline, maybe just going towards live streaming more on there and sticking to Bedrock Edition for my main series, something like that. I don't want to lose it. I really, really do love playing on my Java Survival World. I think it's great. And I actually have, at the moment, the most fun playing on that, which is a shame that that's not reflected in basically the analytics or the vote. So yeah, that's a shame. But it's not going anywhere. Just things might change slightly in the future in how I actually put that out there, right? Like I say, that might become more of a stream-only thing, and my Bedrock Survival Realm will become, or my Bedrock Survival series is, because there's going to be more than one, will be more to the forefront of my channel. I'm really going to go big on Bedrock this year, and I know that contradicts everything I said in my last podcast. My last podcast came from a point of view of frustration and upset towards the game and the problems that were there, without any foresight as to what happened on the other side, actually sitting in the developer's shoes or on the developer's chair and seeing how things are from them. And after considering all that and everything else, and just genuinely understanding that I love the game, I want to play it, Bedrock draws me in a way that Java never did, it's something I'm going to really, really push this year, is Bedrock Edition. I'm not going to start going promoting Minecoins and doing like unboxing things on the Minecoin store or anything like that. I'm still holding my principal position on that until they fully fix the game. I shan't ask people to spend more money on it than actually for the game itself, but I will be promoting playing on there because it is a fantastic platform despite all of its problems. So, before we go on to the Q&A, I just want to say, if you want to get hold of me, if you want to talk to me, if you want to ask me any questions, then hit me up on Twitter @FoxyNoTail. I've got a YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/FoxyNoTail, and obviously I've got my website, which is FoxyNoTail.com. You can find all the details for my Discord and my Patreon and my realms and servers and how to join and how to contact me and all of my videos on my website. Head over there, see what there is. If you want to become a part of the Discord, if you want to become a part of my realms or my servers, or just talk to me, then all the information's on there. It's free to join on the Discord. There's no payment process for Discord. Anyone can join that. The invite link will be in this description. Pop along. I'm very active on there and I do talk a lot. If people ask me questions, then I answer them. Anyway, let's move on to the Q&A. So the first question today was asked by Fantasy Novel, and they asked this through my Discord, and they are a player on my Chaos Survival realm. They've been there a long time. They are now an honorary member of my Bedrock realm, although I don't think they actually decided to play on it because they enjoy playing on my Chaos realm. But yeah, they have been around for a really long time. A lot of respect for Fantasy Novel. And let's hear the question, shall we? And the question is, how do you feel about the idea of a biome updater tool that could be run on worlds to update the biomes to the new standard? And then they went on to say how it might work and how this would work and how that would work. I'm not going to go into all the details. It was a pretty long post, but I think the question sums it up pretty well. And I think it's a great idea, and it's something that I thought really ought to be in the game, because if you start a new world and you play on that world and you go exploring, and you are encouraged to explore in Minecraft with things like the Woodland Mansion and dungeons and end portals, you're encouraged to go off and find all of these interesting things and jungles and jungle temples and things like that. Yeah, the fact that then they put a new update out and you don't get the new features, or you don't get any new biome specific features, like let's say they change the Taiga biome like they are doing in the next update, or villages or pillager outposts and things like that. None of those are going to appear or change in existing chunks, which is really sad. So you think, oh man, the only way I'm going to get those is to start a new world. And if you're invested in your world and you're enjoying what's going on in your world, you don't want to do that. So it is a shame that these updates can really ruin your particular world you're playing on. Well, they don't ruin your world, but they make you want to leave that world and start a new one, which that's not how I like to play Minecraft. I like to play Minecraft for the long run. I like to start a world and think that world's going to last me a good couple of years or so, because that's just how I am. I don't have masses of time to play it all the time. I like to build slow. I like to put my time and effort into it. So when these things happen, I think, oh man, oh yeah, I want these new features, but I can't because I've already explored all the chunks. Now, there are some ways around this. You could use an application or a tool to like prune your world. You could go through the chunks one by one, or the regions one by one, and decide which ones have been built in and which ones haven't, and carefully remove them so they can regenerate. But that's not always a good idea, because you can end up deleting or corrupting your world, which isn't great, or deleting builds that you've done because you picked the wrong chunk or wrong region. So I don't recommend that, but it is a way around it. But what would be a good idea, and what Fantasy Novel suggests, is that the game would look at each chunk individually and it would assess, has that chunk changed from when it originally loaded? So basically what the game could do is it could store a second database of all the chunks with their existing, like, or as they were, block for block when they were first generated. And when the game looks at them, it can like run the chunk generation algorithm over them when there's a new update out, see if there were any differences. If there is, update it with the new version, or if there wasn't, sorry, update it with the new version. So that would work pretty well. The only thing that would fall down on is, let's say, actual world generation itself had changed. When it comes to look at those chunks compared to how they would generate with the new world generation, there might be some differences, and therefore they might not update. But I think in generally overall, that would be a really good little tool to have, or a little feature where you could just click a button in Minecraft and it would say, update your world, and it would go through each chunk one by one, decide if the player had placed anything there, decide if the player had mined anything there or changed anything, and if they haven't, if it was completely as it was when it was first loaded, then they would update it to the new version, which would be great because then you could get all of your features. You might have some weird stuff going on where like one chunk did update and the chunk next to it didn't, so you've got half a jungle, a bamboo forest on one chunk and then nothing on the one to the side of it. But I'd put up with that for the fact that I could have these new features in my existing world without having to go for millions of miles to go and find them, basically. The next question is by Jedi Firefly, who's one of my patrons, and they asked me this question via Discord, and they said, if you could remove one feature that has been added to Minecraft over the years, what would you remove and why? And I've given this quite a lot of thought, and generally speaking, I really like all of the features that are in Minecraft. There's nothing, well, there's one thing, which I'll tell you in a second, but generally, out of all of the features in Minecraft, I can't think of many that I don't like. Now, phantoms are a little bit of an annoyance, and yeah, they're all right. They're in the game. That's the whole point of them, isn't it? They are designed to catch you out from when you've not slept. And I can't complain at those because that wasn't Mojang's idea. It was voted on by the public, so it's not their fault they're in the game either. Creepers are annoying when they come and sneak up on you and blow you up, but again, that's part of the game. That's why we choose to play it, because these things might happen. And dolphins. Dolphins really, really get on my nerves. Just the speed boost thing and the fact that they steal your blocks. I wouldn't mind them stealing my blocks if they didn't just give me an erratic, all of a sudden, speed boost. But again, that's not the thing I'd take out the game. That just makes me not want to build in the water anywhere near dolphins. The one feature that I would remove from the game if I could, and I do on my Java Survival world with some command blocks, is Enderman griefing. Enderman griefing is completely pointless and really annoying, and it adds absolutely nothing to the game, and there should be an off button for it, at least in the settings. You can turn off mob griefing, which just turns off everything in the world, like villagers being able to farm, creepers being able to explode, and all that sort of stuff. I don't want all of those things to be turned off because I like those features, but Enderman griefing, it's just annoying. You spend so long making your world just how you want it to have, over time, just all of these blocks vanish from it and then appear elsewhere. And it's just annoying. It's really annoying to then have to go round and dig them up and move them and put them back again, only for them to go again. Yeah, I would definitely remove that from the game. Or at least I would make it toggleable so you could turn that on and off without affecting anything else, because it's annoying. On Java Edition, you can use commands or data packs to stop it, which is fantastic, and it makes such a big difference. But on Bedrock, you're stuck with it. Please, Bedrock, please, Mojang, please take it away from me. I don't like it. The next two questions were asked by Vane Asher, who is a recent member on my Discord, and the first question they asked was, is your style influenced by anyone? I don't know why, but I always think of Eddie Izzard when watching you for some reason, lol. And then other people commented, I think Mr. Bean, and I think Robin Williams, and basically these are the people that apparently I remind them of. So, yeah, no, Eddie Izzard, Mr. Bean, and Robin Williams are certainly not who I take my inspiration from, but I guess them and South Park and Simpsons and Red Dwarf and other silly series and people all have had an effect on how I am over the years, because I do like comedy. I do watch those people. I have spent time watching their films and their comedy and their stand-ups and things like that. So I guess I don't necessarily have an influencer, somebody I would say, yeah, they are my influencer. Mike Myers is probably the most, you know, with Austin Powers and Wayne's World and stuff like that. Those things stick in your head. I guess I play off quite a lot of those different types of things, but it's not something I consciously do. I think my influences are an amalgamation of all of the different people that I've considered to be entertaining and funny that have had an effect on me over the years. So, yeah, I don't have an influencer. I don't have somebody that I'm trying to be like, or I'm copying, or I aspire to be. I just am who I am, and it's probably, yeah, like I say, a combination of all these different people from watching them over the years. And the final question, and this is one that we've talked about a little bit already, is have you considered, this is by Vane Asher again on Discord, have you considered a hermit craft-like realm for Bedrock? So rather than Patreon subscribers, you and some other Bedrock YouTube whizzes collab. And yeah, we've already talked about it. Yeah, that is something that I have thought about, and that is something that I want to move forward with. Originally, I was approached by someone else from another project that basically didn't put the idea in my head as such as made me want to go forward with the idea. It's something that I've thought about since playing on Handcraft, really, from all that time ago. I did a few episodes on a realm called Handcraft, when that was their sort of idea, but it never really went anywhere. It never, unfortunately, it never really grew, and the realms were so laggy at the time, it was just very difficult to play on. So then this person approached me and said that they were putting together something, and it sounded like a really good idea, and I thought about it for a little while, and then I thought, you know what, yeah, let's just do it. I know I'm already struggling for time with my current commitments on projects, but that is something I'd love to be a part of. I would absolutely love to be a part of Hermitcraft. That is, if you like, my YouTube or my Minecraft dream is to be invited to Hermitcraft. So to do something similar and be able to do it on Bedrock and promote that as well, I think that could be something really special. Unfortunately, the person that approached me, after a little while, it turned out that we had a bit of a conflict of interest. We didn't really see eye to eye how it was supposed to go forward, and with absolutely no issue with them whatsoever, I decided to walk away from that. But I took that motivation and that drive and decided that I was going to, with a couple of other people that were talking about it as well, put something together ourselves. So you'll probably see this year, not just us putting something together, but a group of other people as well, and maybe some more people after that. It turns out there's quite a few of these things existing already. So you've got Console Craft, who started from doing console edition stuff, and they now play Bedrock. They're mainly streamers. You can see them on Mixer. They have a massive community, and they do community builds, so they've got a community world, so that's awesome. And then you've got Unity SMP, which hasn't put out any content for a while. They probably haven't uploaded anything for about 4 or 5 months, I guess, as a team, but it looks like they might be coming back again. Then you've got the people that I was originally in talks with, that we were looking at putting something together. They're going to be putting something out in January. And then you've got what me and a couple of other people will be doing probably around about March-ish time, March, April. And yeah, ours is, at the moment, we're calling it Team Bedrock. We don't have a set name for it as such. But the idea is it's completely community driven. We all have an equal say in what's going on. There's no one leader. We will come together with regular content creators. They don't have to be people with loads of subscribers, but as long as we can see that those people are genuinely passionate about Minecraft, they're not just pushing any old random junk on their channels to get subscribers. Their passion is for the game rather than for their viewing figures, and they want to be part of something that they can get equally passionate about. And we can see that they put out relatively regular content, you know, a couple of videos a month at the very least, I would say. Then, yeah, those people would be more than welcome to come along and apply, and we will go through their stuff and we'll talk about it as a team. And yeah, we'll get together with some people, and hopefully we can go forward with this, and hopefully it will work out. I would love it if it can. I would love it if ours could be the next Hermitcraft, but for Bedrock Edition. And I realise that vision is years down the line of the series and series and series of finally getting recognised. I mean, I didn't even hear about Hermitcraft until it was in its 4th season, and that had been going obviously for a long time with some big YouTubers. So I don't have the wool over my eyes. I don't have any blind ambition that this is going to take off within months and we're all going to be having hundreds of subscribers and loads of people wanting to play and it being everywhere. It's a long, slow process, but it's something I like that. If you can see by my series, they last for a long time. That's the type of gameplay I play, where I start something and I see it through to the end. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to that. I've got a lot of passion and drive for it, and I do genuinely invite people to come along, apply for it. We've got a Discord, the link's in the description. Come along, put your name in the hat, and yeah, hopefully we'll get a good team together. The team needs to gel. It needs to be full of people that can play off each other and get along with each other. There's no point in having just a random team of people cobbled together with different interests and different ideas. It needs to be relatively unified, I guess, is the word, for want of a better word. And yeah, hopefully we can get something good coming from that. So that's enough of questions and answers. Now we're going to talk about the main feature of today's discussion, which is Mojang again, but from a different perspective. Last time we talked about how I thought it was a group of cheap developers that were doing a bad job with the game, and this time I'm going to talk about why I might have felt like that, but what I imagine it's like sitting on the other side of that, and why I think it comes across to us, the frustrated players, that's what's going on. So basically, I'm going to shed a nicer light on Mojang and hopefully give everybody some positivity towards them. So as I said in the last podcast, I was speaking from a point of view of frustration. Frustration can lead to anger. It makes it very difficult to see what's actually going on in the real world and how things are. And I was really frustrated with this update schedule that they've got, and then putting out updates that to me seemed half-assed and half-hearted. And I was just generally bothered by it all, and I didn't open my eyes to think about what was going on the other side of this. So I imagine in this particular scenario that I'm the player sat outside the Mojang offices, banging on the door, asking questions and wondering why I'm being ignored, and the developers are on the other side of the wall, working their fingers to the bone to put out things as they're being told to do, and dealing with hate on a day-to-day, 24/7 basis. So, first of all, the big issue for me, for Mojang, is that they have this personal persona on Twitter. So, not just the actual Mojang team as a company Twitter account, but they've all got their own personal Twitter accounts, which for me, I think that's a dangerous thing to do. I can understand why they do it, and they're probably encouraged to do it from work, and they do it so that they do have a point of communication with their community. They can get the feedback from their viewers, the people that talk to them, and they can come out and reach out to people and you know, for an analytics point of view more than anything else. I don't think it's fair for them to have to do that, because they, through their Twitter accounts, get genuinely negative, not all negative, but a lot of negative feedback, a lot of anger, a lot of hate coming to them 24/7. If they've got a Twitter account, they're going to have that on their mobiles. They're going to take that home with them. They're going to get it when they're in bed. They're going to get it when they wake up. They're going to get it when they're on the loo. They're going to get it while they're sat around with their family at dinner. They're going to get it at the weekends. They're going to get it when they're on holiday. It must be so demeaning and horrible to have to live with that level of anger and frustration coming at you 24/7, especially when you're trying to do a good job. So I think that the Mojang developers are genuinely trying to do a good job. I don't think they're doing a bad job. I think there's a lot of issues with Bedrock Edition, but I think the issues stem more from the fact that they're breaking ground every single day. They have put something out. They put a game out that is a cross-platform and works with these other platforms in a multiplayer sense, and nobody else in the world has done that on any other game, really, at this level, on this type of game. I'm sure there are other games that do something similar in a similar way, but Minecraft is a big game. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of different mechanics. It has to be coded separately for each of these different platforms, and to bring them all together, to make them all work together, is no mean feat. So I can't say they're doing a bad job. I really can't say they're doing a bad job. But yeah, there are a lot of holes in it. There's a lot of bugs with it. There's a lot of processes that I think they could slow down and do a little bit more testing before releasing updates. But I think there's also a lot of somebody standing behind them, if you like, cracking the whip, saying, we need to put out these updates. We need to do this. We need to generate this. You need to get this done at this particular deadline. So I think being a developer, and this is all my imagination, this is what I'm just imagining happens, this is what I think happens, I don't know. I did try and reach out to a couple of people at Mojang to get some feedback on this. I wanted to do an interview with one of them. I didn't get any response, sadly. I guess they probably avoided me since my last podcast. I'm not surprised. But yeah, I wanted to see it from their point of view, actually firsthand, but I'm going to have to just use my best guess from somebody that has spent years working in a working environment, working for other companies, working for myself, understanding business, understanding how professional roles work. I think I'm in a good place to probably guess relatively well on this and not be too far wrong. So Yeah, I think they're working in an office. They've got deadlines, they've got schedules, they've got Microsoft on their back, and you know, the Mojang, the big Mojang, if you like, the whole encompassing Mojang, Java, and Bedrock edition combined, all coming down on them to get these particular updates out at a particular time. And they make promises at Minecon, and they make promises online, and they've got to meet those promises, and they don't, you know, and things come up. Bugs pop up out of the woodwork that they're not expecting. The testing system doesn't work ever so well, as in like the feedback thing. There's a lot of work needs doing with that. It's not perfect. So yeah, it's going to be a rocky road because we're on the forefront of groundbreaking game development. I know it's Minecraft, and I know it's easy to look at and go, well, it's only Minecraft. How hard can it be? But to bring all those things together while dealing with a massive level of permanent level of hate and negativity all the time, I'm surprised they get any work done, to be honest. I know I've got a relatively thick skin, and when people write negative comments on my YouTube videos and things like that, I just brush it off. It doesn't bother me too much. But it does have you do think about it. You take those comments and they do leave like a really minor little scar in your brain. You think, yeah, do you know what? I remember that particular bit of feedback. It doesn't bother me at the time. I don't get upset by it. It doesn't depress me or anything like that. But it does, on the odd one, just cut a little bit into you. And I can imagine that having that permanently, on a permanent basis, must be horrendous. Must be absolutely horrendous. So the developers at Mojang, they've all got their personal Twitter accounts. They want to share their personal lives as well as just work. But the second they post anything to do with anything that's not Minecraft, they still just get all the responses are, yeah, but what about this on Minecraft? And are you going to fix this bug? And I want this feature, and I don't want that feature. And they just get all of this unwanted feedback. And I mentioned in my last podcast that they go around blocking people that are negative. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised they do. They must get to a point where they just go, I've heard far too many negative things today. The next person that says anything negative, I'm just blocking them because I can't deal with it. And I saw that last time as them only wanting to listen to the positivity and ignoring the negativity and having this sort of the air about the office of they're all doing a good job, patting themselves on the back. Now I guess I see it for more than what it is, as just like, look, we need to shut the door to the negativity. Not all of it, but we've heard enough. We're trying to work really hard here. I've been working on this feature for ages and ages and ages. I put it out there. Everybody's attacking me. I can't see any of the positivity, or there's a lot of positivity, but there's these negative people as well. We just need to turn that off for a minute so we can actually do some work. So I get it. I get that. And I'm surprised that none of the people at Mojang are just not clinically depressed or upset permanently. I don't think I'd want to go into work. If we put out a new feature or a new update and it just got that level of negativity coming back at me all day long, I think I would probably just want to curl up in a ball in my bed, turn the lights off and hide. So the other thing to consider from this is if they're getting that level of feedback and that level of frustration from the frustrated fans, does it affect their work ethic and their feelings towards the game? Are they sitting at their desk at work thinking, what is the point? I've been asked by my boss to put this feature into Minecraft, but what's the point? I'm only going to get hate for it. I'm not going to get respect for it. Everybody just thinks it's a stupid feature, or there's going to be problems with it, or it's going to cause bugs. They're going to blame it on me. Why should I bother? Why should I even bother? And does that make them have a half-assed attitude to actually developing the game? Does it make them think, no, you know what, I can't be bothered to do it. I'm just going to do it quickly, and I'm not going to worry about bugs and things like that, and I'm just going to do the absolute bare minimum for my job? Or do they have really thick skins, and do they have a system in place where they do have somebody that they can talk to at work? Maybe they've got some sort of counselling system in place. Maybe they do go around literally patting each other on the back and say, you know what, chin up, you're doing a good job, ignore the haters, you're doing a good job, you are working within your actual working requirements, you are hitting all of your goals, you're doing a good job, keep it up. And is that how they deal with it? Is that how they go through it? Are they just able to continue working at a really high enthusiasm and a really good capacity and putting their heart and soul into it, even with all that going on? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but it must be really difficult. I've put on my notes here, stressful, question mark. I think it must be really stressful. And I'd love to know how they deal with that stress and how do they stay calm and remain focused? How do they convince themselves they're heading in the right direction with the decisions they make and the features they make? I don't know. I don't know how they do it. I'd love to know. But you can't blame them for blocking extremely negative people on social media. And you can't blame them for getting at the end of their tether after they've been really proud of what they've done, putting it out and people going, no, it's rubbish, we don't like it, you broke it, oh, we don't like all this, that and the other. And I'm one of those people, I did that and I'm sorry. And I wish I could take it back. Having said that, actually, no, I don't wish I could take it back. I think it's useful to be able to see both sides of things. I think it's useful to be able to see how this affects the players that do have a genuine passion for the game and also how it affects the developers. But I would love to hear from an actual developer on this. The closest person I think I'm going to hear from is somebody that commented on my YouTube video on the last podcast, which is called Aldrich. And they apparently, this is just what they've told me, I haven't confirmed this, but they have had private chats with Helen Angel, who's another Minecraft community coordinator, and they work for the Bedrock team. And apparently it's not Microsoft cracking the whip and, telling them where they need to go and what they need to do. It's more the sort of the Mojang team as a whole setting the limits and setting the deadlines and things like that. But I'm not 100% convinced on that statement. I'm not 100% convinced on that. Microsoft must have some sort of vision or some sort of say in where it's going, and they must have targets that they want to hit. I can't believe they spent all that money on Mojang and just said, yeah, do what you like. Maybe they did, but that doesn't come across as very Microsofty to me. But I don't know is the answer on that one. They mentioned that the issue with these update numbers, now this isn't something I have a problem with, but a lot of people have issues with the fact that Bedrock Edition are updating. They've got big update numbers every time they even do a minor update. And the reason for that, a lot of people seem to think they're trying to catch up with Java Edition. It's nothing to do with catching up. It's the fact that some of the app stores, and I don't know if it's the Nintendo one or the Google one or what, but they can't deal with a 3-part version number. They can only actually work with a 2-part version number. So they have to update the game, in bigger version numbers in order for it to work across all the devices they want to. So that's not a limitation they've imposed, or that's not a decision they've made, if you like. That's a decision that's come across from the systems they're trying to work with. And that's understandable. You can understand that's going on because Google and Nintendo and Apple and everyone else that's got a platform that Mojang are trying to work for or develop for will have their own limitations and restrictions. In order to make something that works across all of those, they're going to have to make some compromises at the end of the day. And this is where the bug at the moment, where you've got a Realm and the Realm gets a hotfix that falls in line with, let's say, the Nintendo Switch hotfix, but you don't get that hotfix on Windows 10 because Windows 10 doesn't have the issue. You go to download your Realm and open it up as a single-player world, and it says to you, no, sorry, you can't load this world. It was created in a newer version of Minecraft. And you think, well, I'm in the latest version. What can I do about this? And there's nothing you can do about it. They're working on that. They're working on a way to fix that, but that has to do with this version numbering issue. I think they obviously know what they need to do, but it seems to me like they need a different or better way of addressing these hotfixes without causing issues with the version numbers. Maybe they could put like a different letter after it or something like that that doesn't actually come up on the main screen. I don't know. Anyway, that's not my job. That's their job. Let's leave them to it. They seem to be knowing what they're doing most of the time. Another thing that Aldrich said was that the reason they don't properly test the stuff that they put out before it comes out is because it's too impractical. Now, I can understand what he means. It's impractical to properly test updates across all of the different devices and platforms that they've got. But in my opinion on that one, I know that's difficult, but if they're going down the groundbreaking route of literally breaking ground with this new type of game that works across all devices and all platforms, they really ought to just slow down, take their time, and put more testing in so we don't have these bugs. Bedrock Edition would be much, much bigger, in my opinion. And I don't just mean as in have a bigger player base. It's got a massive player base. They don't need a bigger player base, but it would be much more well talked about by people like myself and other YouTube influencers, and like people like Hermitcraft. They don't play Bedrock Edition, not because they prefer Java Edition because they don't like Bedrock Edition because of the issues that's in it, basically. So I think if they took their time, just slowed down a little bit, and did do more testing, so there weren't quite so many of the big bugs, then it would get a lot more respect as a game, and it would, and more people would be willing to play it, I think. I mean, this is one of my biggest worries about starting this Bedrock Edition, like, content creators survival thing, is there's so many bugs in the game. How do I know that somebody's not just going to dupe in everything that they're going to do and then just have like millions of diamonds and be able to buy whatever they want from all the shops? How do I know that people aren't going to be using Android devices to hack and cheat the game? You know, there's a lot of issues that could potentially happen with Bedrock that we're just going to have faith in. And I think that's what this all comes down to, is that we need to have faith in the developers. We need to have faith in the platform. And if we want to play it, and if we like playing it, we just need to let them do what they're doing and not be so negative towards the decisions they make. We should support it with positivity and only give negative criticism in the form of constructive feedback. If you don't like a new feature, then tough. You know, they're in charge. It's not our game. Yes, we've paid for it and you might spend a fortune on Minecoins, but you're playing a game they've put out. You choose to do that. It's not your choice or my choice or anyone else's choice what features go in. If you want to have a particular feature put in and you think it's essential, and if you think it's amazing, they do have platforms available like the feedback website where you can put that in, rather than just banging onto them on Twitter. I want this feature. Why are you doing this when this feature would be even better? Yeah, just stop. Stop that. Stop hating on them and say, look, you know, there's an issue here and this is how I think you can fix it. Or, you know, you've done a really good job here, but what about this? You know, be more positive with the way you approach the developers on Twitter and in other areas as well, so that they don't just feel like they've got this constant barrage of hate coming at them all day long. Also, and I'm telling myself this as much as I'm telling anyone else, have faith in the direction the game's going. Everyone's worried that all these new features and additions are going to kill the game. They've been doing it for a long time now. It's been going, what, 5 or 6 years, if not more, Minecraft, and they've not got it wrong yet. I still love every single feature they put out. I was panicking about the Village and Pillage one, and now it's amazing. You know, just have faith. They know what they're doing. They've got this. I'm not a fan of the regular updates, but that's something I'll get used to. That's something that's my personal issue. That's not an issue that they're facing. It's obviously working for them, which is why they're doing it. So we just need to have faith. And I'm not a religious person. I'm not a person that has a great deal of faith. But I think in this particular area, I think that's something that I need to just take a step back, stop putting my own personal experiences forward and worrying about the game from a passionate point of view that it's not going in a direction I think it should go in, and just watch where it goes and enjoy playing it while it's going. There are always going to be millions of people with millions of different ideas about what's best for the game. And they know, they are there. They are the very epicenter of the storm. They can see it all. They've got the analytics. They've got the teams. They've got the marketing. They're not dumb. They're not hiding in this bunker, sort of randomly hitting, oh, let's add this feature, or let's do that, or let's do this. They're not just throwing darts at a dartboard through a screen and hoping they hit it. They know what they're doing. They've been doing it a long time. Let's give them a chance. A couple more questions before we wrap this up is, will the developers work better with a more positive mindset rather than this continual bashing that we keep giving them? Maybe, just maybe, they would be more happy to work harder and have more enthusiasm for the game if every time they put something out, they had an overwhelming sense of optimism and positivity rather than sort of a mixed bag of negativity and some hate and some positivity. If it was more, or that certainly the majority was positive and optimistic about the things they were doing, surely they would feel better about it and want to work harder on it. That must be the case, surely. I think if we're more positive towards them, if we give them more respect for what they're doing, and we approach negative issues in a more positive way or in a more constructive way, then that will help the developers have a better mindset towards working for the game and therefore produce better stuff. Now, I'm not bashing them now. I'm not saying they're producing poor quality stuff. I think this podcast hopefully will highlight the fact that I do have a lot of respect for what they're doing, and it must be really, really hard to do what they're doing and I think they're doing a good job. Despite the bugs, despite the issues, overall, I'm still drawn to the game. I still want to play it, and I still really, really like it. And I am talking mainly about Bedrock Edition. I don't seem to have many of these issues with Java Edition, but then Java Edition's not breaking new ground every day. So there we go. That's my thoughts on the developers and how they are from the other side of the table and why we should give them more positive criticism rather than, or just more positive feedback in general rather than negativity and criticism. So if you want to get hold of me, hit me up on Twitter at Foxy No-Tail. I've got a website, which is FoxyNoTail.com. On there, you'll find details for my Patreon, my YouTube channel, my Discord, and my realms and servers as well, if that's something that you want to pop along and have a look at and maybe join in on. My plans for next week, I've written on my show notes on Christmas because I wrote the show notes before Christmas. My plans for next week are back to work, sadly. Yeah, I've got to go back to work. I've got to get cracking on that. I'm not looking forward to it. I want a holiday. Give me a holiday, please. In Minecraft, I'm going to be doing some more streaming, hopefully today. I don't know what I'm going to do on my Bedrock world at the moment. I've just finished doing my bamboo farm. I'm going to have to come up with something else for that, maybe getting some pandas over or something like that. I think I want to start working with animals a bit more because, yeah, I did my horse stables, but I've still got nowhere for my cats and my dogs, so that might come up. On Java Edition, I am going to be working on live streaming as well, and also working on underneath my house. We're starting to put together a big fish tank, me and some of the other members on the realm as well, so that should be pretty cool. As for the next podcast and my future videos, yep, I'm going to be working on those over the weeks as well. I think there's going to be a few road bumps between here and probably February. I've got a lot of working away to do in January. It's going to be a very rocky road, but hopefully we'll come out of the other end of it without too much of an issue for my YouTube channel. So yeah, just have a little bit of faith that I'm not disappearing. I will be around, and I'm doing my best to get as much content out to you guys as possible. If you've got any ideas for the next chat or the next podcast topic, please let me know. And in the meantime, something to think about. How do you imagine it feels working as a Mojang developer? Do you think they close the doors and just ignore all the negativity, or do you think that has an effect on them? Do you think it affects them when they're lying in bed at night next to their partner, miles away from work? Do you think they're worrying and stressing about this negativity? Do you think that they feel like when they get this negativity, their job's at risk? Maybe they feel like they're going to lose their job because they're getting so much negativity about the part of the job that they're working on. I don't know. You don't know. Only they know, but it is something to think about. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you all very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please like it. Please do subscribe and follow, and have a very happy new year. Thanks for listening. Bye.